guess it's a little of both, even though the purging I've cut back on a great deal. I still think it's both. Because, if I eat something bad in my mind, I will absolutely purge usually.
So if you could just tell the camera what your diagnosis is, that you're both anorexic and bulimic.
My diagnosis is both anorexia and bulimia.
And walk me through when it started and how, the different phases that it's gone throughout your life.
I don't really remember a beginning when it started. I was so young. Food was always my, obsession. When I was younger, like 8 and 9 years old, I was sneaking food. I was hiding food. I was eating whole frozen cheesecakes out of the freezer in the basement. I remember when I was in elementary school, it had to be 5th grade, we did a fundraiser for school, and everyone ordered candy and whatnot, and I ate everyone's orders, and had to hide it from everyone and reorder it. My mom had to reorder the candy, and then when I was about 11, I had the flu, and my grandmother made a comment to me that, because I threw up, and she said, well, maybe you'll lose a couple pounds from throwing up. And then I thought about it for a little while, and I realized that maybe I could just make myself throw up, and then maybe I really can lose more weight and eat what I want. So I started purging when I would binge. And then I went to a weight loss camp in California when I was 10 or 11. I went 2 summers in a row, and that's when the purging really got out of control. I lost weight, and I wasn't just purging when I was binging. I was purging meals, normal, healthy meals. Anything I ate at that point, I was purging. And then I came home, and from the weight loss camp, and then I started binging and purging again, and binging, and it was just a never-ending cycle. From the age of 13 to 19, I was in inpatient eating disorder units 8 or 9 times. It was always back and forth between binging and restricting, or binging and purging and restricting. And since March of 2009, it's been mainly restricting and purging.
Excuse me. And why did you go to a weight loss camp when you were 11 and 12?
My mom and my grandmom thought I was overweight. When I look back, I was not fat. I don't think. I wish I knew then that I wasn't fat. I was chubby. I was a normal kid. But to them, I was fat. I was huge, and they let me know that on a daily basis.
And then, tell me about the weight gain and how you ended up losing the 300 pounds, right?
About, give or take, I lost about 300 pounds since March of 2009. My weight has always jumped from not just like 10 or 20 pounds over the years. It's always jumped, from 90 to 120 pounds, up or down. But since March of 2009, in March of 2009, I started Weight Watchers because my weight was, at that point, I stopped caring. I had, my daughter was just, still a little bit young, and I stopped caring about my weight, and I just gained weight, kept gaining, and I was eating and junk off, all through the day. And then when I was alone at night, I would binge and purge. So my weight plummeted and just kept going up and up and up and up. And finally, my Aunt Terry took me aside and said, you need to do something about your weight. It's not healthy. You've gained too much weight. You can't keep going like this. So I decided I was going to go to Weight Watchers. Even though I knew my history of eating disorder behaviors, I went anyway. And the first week, I lost 5 pounds, which was good. And the first week, I pretty much stuck to their plan. I ate the points. I ate just the frozen meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then gradually cut back. Over about 2 months' time, I cut back and I started taking laxatives again. Yeah. And then I cut back to pretty much maybe 200 calories a day.
And so, talk to me about what your eating disorder is like for you today. Elaborate more on that. Like, how does it affect you on a day-to-day basis?
On a day-to-day basis, it's always there. Like, it's always in my mind. I don't know what to do, what not to do. On a day-to-day basis, I wake up in the morning, I make my daughter breakfast. I don't eat breakfast. I make her lunch for school. I don't eat lunch. I take her to the bus stop. I come home, and then I usually go right back to my bed, just to avoid being around anyone or anything that has food involved at all. I usually try on about 8 to 10 pairs of pants to see if I've gained weight. I was getting weighed till a couple months ago, about 10 times, at least 5 to 10 times a day. But then I gave up the scale, so I haven't been doing that. But I have been, obsessing about how my clothes fit me and how I look and all that. I can't do anything. I can't go out with my friends because I normally going out involves some kind of eating, so I won't go. I just try to avoid any situation where there's food, or make an excuse and say I already ate. And then at nighttime, normally I'll have, something to eat. Last night I had a frozen yogurt, and that was it. Yeah, that was it.
Have you eaten anything today?
No. Not yet.
So if you do eat in a day, when does that usually happen?
Usually my eating, if I eat at night when I'm alone, sometime, once in a while I'll eat, it's at maybe like 2 or 3 o'clock I'll eat something, but normally I'll eat at night, usually.
What is your relationship like with food? What's your relationship like with food? How do you feel about food in general?
I hate food. I feel like if I eat, I'm just an awful, awful person. I shouldn't. I feel like I did something bad. If I eat anything that I shouldn't be eating, I feel like I just really destroyed everything, and I don't deserve to eat. I have my safe foods, which I seem to get obsessive about. Like, I'll eat the same thing for a month or 2 or months or 3 months or whatever. It has to be, those foods has to be pre-measured. Yeah. It gets...
What are your safe foods right now?
Right now my safe foods are frozen yogurt, sometimes turkey breast, and sometimes I believe it's halibut. It has 90 calories in it, so once in a while I will have that. But it changes like every few weeks, but right now that's what it is.
Right. And talk to me about what are your biggest fears surrounding your eating disorder?
If I give up my eating disorder?
No, just like if you continue on the path that you're on, what are your biggest fears?
My biggest fear is that I will go back to where I was a couple months ago. And not that I am, any better right now. I'm doing better than I was, but obviously I'm not cured. I'm not doing great, but not as bad as I was. But my biggest fear is that I will end up dead and leaving my daughter behind.
And what about the fear surrounding your daughter following in the same path as you?
She, my daughter Mia, her eating habits right now are she emotionally eats. She overeats a lot. She seems to be obsessed with food the same way I was when I was younger. And my biggest fear, even when I was